Hello and welcome to Unbound Carry, the channel where we help you elevate your everyday. My name is Jeffrey McDuffie, and today we are reviewing the North Face Borealis backpack. I'm really excited to get into this review, so let's go ahead and start it off with a quick pocket walkthrough. Starting off with a pocket walkthrough, the first one you're going to see here is a quick access pocket. It's got a soft lining, which is great for sunglasses or any other gear that you might want to protect. Moving on from the front compartment, you've got the admin compartment. The admin compartment is where you're going to see most of the organization in this bag. It's got a couple of slip pockets and a key leash. There's also a good amount of volume, so you can store things outside of the pockets as well. Moving on, we have the main compartment. The main compartment is just one large cavity where you're going to need to use a lot of pouches to organize your stuff, unless you're carrying a lot of large items. There isn't really any organization in this compartment. And lastly, you've got your laptop compartment, which can store a 16-inch laptop. It's also suspended, and it's got a spot for you to put your water bladder. Alright, moving on to the features and specs. This bag has 28 liters of volume. It's got a bungee compression system, bottom compression straps, a 16-inch laptop compartment, 2 external water bottle pockets, YKK zips with U-shaped pull tabs, a sternum strap with an integrated whistle, a removable waist belt, 210D recycled nylon ripstop, and lastly, a PFC-free durable water repellent finish, PFC-free being better for the environment. Real quick guys, if you're enjoying this video, then I would appreciate it if you gave it a like, and if you're really loving it, then maybe consider subscribing. I make videos on bags, tech, and everyday carry, so if any of that sounds interesting to you, I think you'll like it here. Alrighty, back to the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with what I like about this bag. And one of the first things that I noticed when I used this for the first time is just how comfortable the bag feels. It feels like a really cozy, firm mattress on your back. The only issue that I kind of noticed was that the straps dig into my neck slightly, but since the straps are articulating, this helps mitigate this. So if you do feel like the straps are digging into your neck, you can kind of just adjust the straps outward, and that should help with that. It hasn't been too much of an issue, but I did want to bring it up. I want to say this is probably one of the most comfortable back panels I've used in a long time due to it feeling like it's hugging your back like a comfy, firm mattress, like I said earlier. So yeah, it's a very, very comfortable bag. I also love how the laptop compartment is suspended. It's suspended about 2.5 to 3 inches off the ground, which helps protect your laptop against drops or anything like that. So for example, if you have your expensive laptop in here, you set it on the ground on concrete or something like that, since it's suspended off of the ground, this will help mitigate any damage or anything like that. Now, with that being said, the padding inside of the laptop compartment isn't really anything great. It's quite adequate. But I will say that if you have anything in the main compartment, it can poke into the laptop compartment. So you're just going to want to be a little bit strategic with how you organize your gear. Like for example, if you have a book, you're probably going to want to put the book towards the back so that it kind of has a barrier against your laptop. But this hasn't really been an issue in my use. Again, it's just something that I wanted to point out. Another thing about this bag is the organization is really useful. It doesn't rely on an overabundance of pockets, and the admin compartment just feels great, in my opinion. It has the perfect amount of pockets, nothing too crazy. I know some people might think that it might not have enough pockets, which again, it's a completely subjective thing. So if you don't pack with pouches, or if you don't have large pieces of gear that you need to organize, this might be a harder bag to use just because it only really has the admin compartment with all of the organization. So you're going to want to be using pouches with this bag to organize. So for example, you're going to want to use pouches like these for your tech, or I have like a hygiene pouch in here. You're going to want to do something like that just because there's not much organization. I personally like that because I like organizing with pouches, but a lot of people might want to organize their bag using the organization built into a bag itself. So that is important to mention. And continuing on the subject of the organization and how the bag is laid out, a lot of the volume is vertical on this bag. So what that means is that it's going to be good for storing long items or for organizing in pouches and stacking things on top of each other. So for example, I think a great use case would be if you're a student and you have like a lot of books and stuff like that, and then you have your pencil pouch and things like that, then you can kind of stack that on top of each other, and then the books will use up a lot of that vertical volume. For other use cases, like I said earlier, you're going to want to use a lot of pouches, and you're going to want to stack the pouches on top of each other, and that'll help you use more of that vertical space. This does come with downsides, that being the pouch at the bottom is going to be harder to get to, but it does give you a lot of volume. Like I said earlier, this bag has like 28 liters of volume. The zippers on this bag are awesome. They're just like the industry standard for quality, YKK zips, but they also have these U-shaped pull tabs, which make it really easy to have like an indexing point so that you can articulate the zippers and open and close them. So the zippers are awesome. The only zippers that don't have the U-shaped pull tabs are on the admin compartment and on this quick access compartment right here in the front. The grab handle on this bag is phenomenal. I really thought that on a bag at this price point, they would probably skimp out on the grab handle, but it's super solid, it's super padded, and very comfortable to hold. It's also kind of, close to the bag. So when it's not in use, it doesn't stick out too much, which is kind of nice. And it just feels really comfortable to grab onto. A lot of companies will skimp out on, creating a solid grab handle. The North Face didn't do that. They did a great job there. The material on this bag being I think the 210D nylon, the ripstop nylon, is very flexible and lightweight, which is a stark contrast to what I usually use. I typically use bags that have like Cordura or ballistic nylon or canvas. Which are thicker, more rigid materials, and this just feels so soft and flexible. And a benefit of that is that you can actually pack this bag out a lot without it feeling too constrained and too hard to get into because the material is more flexible. But if you do that with, like, let's say a wax canvas bag or an X-Pack bag, for example, you're gonna really feel it when you start to overpack the bag, and it's gonna be harder and harder to access. The craftsmanship on this bag is also really good, especially for a brand like the North Face, which manufactures bags at high volumes. It's really good. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. I've seen some loose threads on the bag, but nothing that's concerning and nothing that's going to make me worry about how it's gonna function in the long term. This is one of those bags that, like, it's going to be affordable, but it's going to last you a long time. This is like a companion for a ton of flights and trips that you're going to live with for years, and it might not last it might not be heirloom quality like some bags, but it's going to last you a long time. Continuing on the subject of quality and craftsmanship, I have seen no abnormal signs of wear, especially around like the shoulder straps on the bottom where it's going to be touching the ground. Nothing abnormal that I've noticed. So the bag has been wearing in totally fine. No holes, no punctures, no rips, nothing like that so far. Also, another subjective thing, I really love the look of this black color. It's very stealthy and subdued, and in my opinion, it makes it look like, I have a lot of stuff in here, and some of that stuff is expensive. And this just looks like a normal school bag or an outdoorsy bag or just a regular commuter bag. And it doesn't really scream that like I have a lot of money's worth of stuff in here, which is really cool. It's very stealthy, very understated. It doesn't stand out. So if you're kind of into like just flying under the radar, you don't want to really draw too much attention to yourself, then I think this is going to be an excellent bag for that. Now, they do have different colors, which might draw more attention to it, but at the end of the day, it does look like a standard commuter bag, student bag. I really like the understated look of this. So if you watch my recent What's in My Bag video, I talked about how I don't really carry a water bottle with me as much anymore because I keep it at work. But with that being said, I love having external water bottle pockets. The reason being is that when you have external water bottle pockets, it's not using up as much of the internal volume on the bag as an internal water bottle pocket would. So there are benefits to having an internal water bottle pocket, being that it looks more stealthy, more sleek, and you don't have anything sticking on the outside. But I just personally like having external water bottle pockets. Your mileage may vary, but this does fit like a standard 32 ounce Nalgene, and it fits it really well. There's like no issues there. And the last thing I want to talk about and what I love about this bag is the lining is a wonderful light gray color. And the reason why I say that it's wonderful is because it makes it so easy to see inside. So that's the benefit of having an orange or a yellow or a white lining, is that you can see inside of the bag really well, just because of how the light is reflected off of it. So yeah, great lining, great choice of lining. I don't know if other colors have different colored lining. But for the black one, you have like that light gray color, which is fantastic. All right, so moving on to what I don't like so much about this bag, I will say that it feels like there's a lot of straps dangling around. So of course you have your adjustment straps, or your adjustment straps for the shoulder straps. You've also got the adjustment straps for this waist belt right here. And then you've also got the adjustment straps for the sternum strap here, and it just feels like there's a lot. Now, thankfully, one of the straps, being the one for the waist belt, can be removed if you don't plan on using the waist belt, which I never did in this review. I typically don't use waist belts, but then if you do want to use the waist belt, then you won't have it. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of straps on this bag. You can probably just buy strap keepers off of Amazon, which will help mitigate this. But it is something to note. I also don't really like the bungee cord. It makes it look kind of outdoorsy, which, I mean, the North Face, I'm pretty sure, is like an outdoorsy brand. But I don't really like it, although it does have utility. It doesn't get in the way, though. That's the important thing to know. I just don't like it because of the look, but it doesn't get in the way. I've never had any issues with the snagging on anything or anything like that. And it is useful. Like, you can use this to hold a towel or a really large jacket or something like that. But I just don't like how it looks. I'm pretty sure the North Face makes bags similar to this, but aren't exactly the same. So for example, I think you have like the North Face Recon, I believe, which is another bag I was looking at. I'm not sure if that's a one-to-one, like replica of this with just a different front panel here without the bungee cord. But yeah, I pretty much just chose the Borealis because it felt like the volume, being 28 liters, just felt like a good sweet spot. I think the Recon is a bit bigger. And lastly, I'm looking at my notes and it says that the bag doesn't stand on its own, and I've had mixed results with getting the bag to stand on its own. It seems like now it wants to, which is great. And I want to say, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, it does stand on its own, but sometimes it hasn't done so. All right, so in conclusion, as you could probably tell from this review, I really like the North Face Borealis backpack. Its standout features like its comfort, its abundance of volume, and its lightweight and flexible material make this a great bag for students, commuters, and even for occasional outdoor activities. With an abundance of colors to choose from, you're sure to find something that'll fit either in the office, on campus, or the great outdoors. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then you might actually really like my What's in My Bag video that I posted a few days ago. The link to that is on the screen.